also have Captain C.S. Randhawa, President, Federation of Indian Pilot, who also served as former Deputy Chief Flight Operations Inspector at the DGCA, joining me on the phone line with more. Good morning, sir, and welcome to NDTV Profit. Thank you so much.
Go to gate 2.
Thank you so much for speaking with us, sir. If you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, sir. Sir, regarding this prelim report, trying to understand from you, can a pilot accidentally move the fuel switches that are feeding the engines?
No, the pilot cannot feed in the cannot fiddle with the fuel control switches. If you see, now on the aircraft on the throttle quadrant, and on the side there are guards. So by accidentally, the pilot's sleeves and all cannot touch that switch. Secondly, these switches are spring-loaded. Like if I have to run it, I have to pull it out and then move it to run. Similarly, from run to cut off, I have to take it up, it's spring-loaded, and put it down. Now, this action is deliberate. When you start the engines, you put the fuel switches to run, and only in case of an emergency like fire or engine flame out, you recycle these switches so that the EEC, which is the electronic engine control, that can be reset and the relight procedure can start, and which will trigger even for the APU to start in case of a two-engine flame out. Now, in the report, if you see, they have not adequately covered that when the aircraft has got airborne, okay, within 4 seconds, these switches have been recycled. Now, moment the aircraft lifts up, there is a micro switch in the landing gear, main landing gear. When it is decompressed because it lifts off, the aircraft goes from ground mode to air mode, and there is a transfer of electric power. So maybe the power interruption has cut both the engines. Possibility that can be verified only from the DFDR. Now that has not been amply brought out in the report. That what has happened in this 4 seconds. They have said that the throttle levers have been found at idle position. The fuel control switches have been to run position, but they have been recycled. But what was the condition of the engines in these 4 seconds? That is not clarified. And no external agency can actually recycle those until unless there is some interruption in the power, and without the fuel control switches physically, cut off and to run. I have never seen it and never heard of such a thing that it can happen automatically with a power interruption also. Where the possibility is if the engines have flamed out, and if the fuel control switches have been recycled, that is condition number 1. And the second thing is you must understand the RAT is deployed. So that is quite obvious that the engines had flamed out after liftoff.
Okay. All right. So you're essentially saying that the power interruption could have led to the inadvertent movement of the switches, sir?
No. They will, you see, the EEC basically sends the power supply to a FedEx, which controls the fuel supply to the engine. Now, if there is a power interruption, it could have triggered off, shutting the fuel supply through the FedEx into the engine. So that possibility is there. So what I'm saying is, in the prelim report, this is not very clear that what has happened in those 4 seconds after liftoff till the time they found the fuel switches, control switches, which are shut off and again put to run. What has happened in these 4 seconds?
Okay. Understood. So, Captain Randhawa, while I have you, let me also come to the advisory that everybody is talking about, the FAA advisory back from 2018 that clearly raised this issue. Should advisories automatically be enforced when safety critical components are involved?
See, whenever any of such bulletins are issued, if they are advisory in nature, it is up to the airline to carry out any action or not. If it is mandatory, then they have to carry out whatever is required by the manufacturer. Now, in this case, it was advisory in nature. Now, when since advisory in nature, if Air India has not carried out the requisite checks, then they may not have found it appropriate. But nevertheless, if this advisory was there, they could have done a percentage check at least on some aircraft.
All right.
But it is not mandatory.
It is not mandatory. Okay, sir. And
No.
at the cost of, I mean, I know that I'm pressing further, but can these switches transition from cut off or vice versa within 1 second?
No, see, you have to do it physically. You see, pilots are taught, in a dual engine fail-out, okay, these are memory actions, all right? This is basically to reset the EEC, the engine, electronic engine control. If you see that in the report they're saying that the number 1 engine started picking and the number 2 engine yet to pick up. So I'm of the view that maybe that both engines got cut off when aircraft was lifted off. It has taken some time for the engines to spool down, and aircraft has in the meantime, if you see, it has accelerated to from 155 knots to 180 knots. That's the maximum speed this aircraft has achieved after takeoff.